starting over. We look really cool.
We do.
What's up, friends?
Hi.
Hello. Happy week till Halloween.
Oh my God, it's coming up so quickly. I'm super excited. We were just talking about how I've been leaning way more into the spooky gothic nature of myself in the last couple years.
Well, let's see. To celebrate Scorpio season, you've painted your entire dining room black.
Black.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks great. It was white before, now it's black, and it's amazing. It looks beautiful.
It's so dark.
Yeah, it's as dark as my soul.
I meant that as a compliment.
I'm super into it. I'm very into it.
Yeah, it makes our so we record in my dining room, which Heather's dining room, which is now I feel like a more comfortable recording space now that it's painted black, and I like that.
It does, and we have now acquired headphones. We've recorded the first 17 episodes of this podcast without any headphones, so now we can hear ourselves.
We just fly in, by the seat of our pants. We didn't know what we sounded like. Now we do.
You guys have no idea. These headphones are fucking tight.
Yeah.
They were also $12.
I was just about to say
These are
that.
the fucking tightest $12 headphones anyone ever had.
I literally was just going to say, like, we're super ballin' with these $12 headphones sounding so professional.
I will, they're by a very legitimate audio company. They came highly reviewed on Amazon.com. So
Hey.
I think they'll work out.
That'll do, Pig.
I feel good. I feel really good.
Yeah.
The more gear I have on, the more professional I feel.
Yeah.
Cool.
So welcome to That Sick, episode 18.
Octane.
Octane.
That's 3 6s. That's definitely a power number.
Oh, what a great
Three
number
sixes,
to hit.
is it? Really?
Yeah.
6 plus 6, bitch.
Oh, God.
Hail Satan, and it's a spooky one.
I didn't know you were so into numerology.
I didn't know I was either.
Oh,
Sure,
okay.
right now.
You're just so on it with the Satanism, which I love it.
Also, I just either say that's a power number or that's not a power number, like all of the time, regardless of what the number is.
It either is or it isn't.
Like, oh, that's a lucky number. Oh, that's a bad number.
So that's Sick episode 18. It's a bye week. 666. It's technically 666 episode. If we ever fucking get to the real 666.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Ugh.
But I don't know if there's 666 disgusting things to talk about.
There are.
How many years would that be of recording? Like,
It adds up really fast.
12 plus 13. Like, no, that's never going to happen.
I'm not going to be alive that long.
We're never. You're not going to be alive for 12 more years.
No, I'm definitely not making 12 more years.
Oh, that's not even. That's
Bullshit.
That's like you're
Live
like
fast, die young, leave a good looking corpse.
that's like you dying at like 47.
Exactly. Before I start getting too turkey necky.
Oh my God. We've all discussed that, like, I definitely am going to get the turkey neck surgery if that happens to me. I'm not really for plastic surgery, and I'm like, whatever, anybody do what you want to do. Plastic surgery is fine. Anybody, but like for me, I personally am like not all about like going under the knife if I don't have to. But if I get that fucking turkey neck, it is getting sliced off. Sliced, baby. I don't want no turkey neck.
Okay.
So it's a bye week for me. I didn't have to do any research. And
Cool sports term.
Yeah.
Shut up. I'm so cool. Cool story, bro. But we need to, before we delve into our subjects this week, which I really, really want to know what they are, we have to talk about the sickest thing of the week. So, JB, Justine, do you have anything disgusting?
Oh, I got a fucking nasty ass thing I saw this week, and it was so gross, it made me want to throw up all over everything.
Really? You know what is so funny? I love how like some weeks we're like, nah, we have nothing. And then some weeks we're like, I have the most disgusting thing ever. It's never like in between, I feel.
For me, sometimes like, I gotta think about something that's kind of gross. Or I'll have like a sick thing in a good way and not a sick thing in a bad way.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Whose life is that interesting that interesting things are happening to them every single week?
Oh my God.
That's kind of the point, though.
Finn Wolfhard.
We're trying to find the, the
interest in the mundane.
Thank you. God, my words suck today. Everyone has needed to complete my sentences for me today all day long.
It's all right.
It's
I've got a
fine.
very colorful phrase in my description of my sick thing.
All right, I'm
I
so
can't
excited.
wait.
What is it?
No. Oh, your sick thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
you
yeah.
meant
I'm
the
not
topic.
gonna talk about my topic
Okay.
yet. No.
What's your
it's not
sick thing of the week? JB, go at it.
All right. So, as you know, I work at a local grocer purveyor, and we had a shipment of pet food come in that was damaged.
Oh.
And whatever, most of us just sent in cans and stuff. And one of the grocery managers came walking up, and he's like, "Do you have a strong constitution?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I've got a strong constitution. What you got, buddy? Let me see."
I host a podcast called That's Sick. I want to see it.
And he's like, "Oh, it smells bad, doesn't it?" I was like, "Oh yeah, it does smell bad." And so I went to go pick up a can. He's like, "No, don't touch that. Don't touch that."
Oh God.
And then I can't pick it up because I'm a little dainty girl, I suppose. So he picks it up, and there's fucking maggots crawling out of it. Oh. And one of my coworkers in my department came out, and he wanted to know what all the hubbub was because I'm like screeching, and I'm like, "Oh no, that's so sick. Oh, I'm gonna fucking I'm really turning on the dramatics as always."
Oh my God, that's so sick though.
And I was like, "David, this is like, it looked like if something was a corpse and it had a big pimple, what would happen if you popped a corpse's pimple because the maggots just were squirming out like corpse pimple juice."
Oh my God, Jamie, that's so fucking nasty.
Thank you.
I'm assuming
Ugh.
this is wet pet food.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wet pet food is gross, like just
It
in
is.
general.
In general, it's so smelly, so gross.
You open it up and it's got like that layer of like the jelly fat.
Ugh.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
that yellow like gelatin,
Ugh.
And then you
that
like
smells like nasty meat.
and then you get some on your hand.
Yeah,
and
And
like,
it was
on your hand.
like the soft cup, like peely kind.
Oh God, ew.
Yeah, so it was gross. Yeah, but it was real gross. I wanted to throw up. Oh, there's so many Maggies. They were like,
Ugh. Oh my God, Justine, can you top that?
no, I
Or
can't.
sickest thing? Do you have a sickest
I
thing of the
do.
week? Oh.
I do. So, well, at first it was my various coworkers discussing all the times their children had thrown up, and they were having this like bonding session over it, and I was just like,
Having children is just
Ugh.
sick in general.
well, they were very good natured about
no
it.
offense.
And
or
then
nothing.
and then I told them I was going to talk about it on the podcast, and now I have. The other thing though was I saw today someone on Twitter had shared an image of a feet loaf.
What?
"Oh, I've seen that."
What's
yeah.
a feet loaf?
It's a meatloaf made to be shaped like two severed feet.
Ew.
It's gross. It's kind of cool. I like the onion toenails.
Yeah, the onion toenails are the finishing
pretty
touch.
nasty.
Yeah.
I love onions.
Ew, that sounds so gross. I
It's
don't
pretty
want
good.
it.
It probably tastes real good.
Well, I'm sure it tastes good, but I don't want to eat a foot loaf.
No, me neither.
That's like before. I've seen things where people make like I've Googled stuff that's like, oh, Halloween party, platters and whatnot, where people will make like a spread that looks like a guy's like a skeleton's open chest, and there's like charcuterie pouring out as to look like the offal. Inside the organs and all that stuff. I'm not into that very much. I was just like, oh,
What
gross.
about the hot dogs that look like bloody fingers?
Yeah. So I do not have a sickest thing of the week as far as I know. I guess maybe the sickest thing that I've seen this week has been I've been getting more into watching classic horror films, and those are kind of gross, like the various disgusting things in those. Specifically, I've been watching The Shining and
Shitting.
The Shinning, copyright The Shinning, or
Isn't that what they call it in The Simpsons?
yeah.
Yeah.
Can't copyright that.
No, that's why it's like you say The Shinning because it's not copyrighted.
Okay.
That was the joke.
yeah, but I
That's
didn't.
the joke.
But they're like, you mean the No, the shitting.
Yeah, The Shinning. That's what.
Oh, sure. But then I guess my point was The Simpsons own The Shinning now.
Oh yeah, and then
That's probably also copy. Yeah.
Willie. So Willie played the I forget what that character's name was, but the other guy in The Shining that had The Shining, Willie played that character. And
Yeah,
then
Willie
he
had
got,
the shitting.
He got like murdered with the axe. Sorry, spoiler alert for like a fucking 50-year-old movie by now. But I just watched the Shining for the first time like 2 days ago, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was very good, but it was very sick in many ways, and God, like, no, thank you. No, thank you to some of the imagery.
No, thank you.
Some of the imagery.
Very polite.
Yeah, but it was a good film, and Stephen King's ridiculous. Again, we're talking about Stephen King. Stephen King's renaissance.
Did he ever go away?
No, but he's like totally having a renaissance.
He really
right now.
is.
He's like, God, his properties are just like all up in my grill on every streaming service, and in the theater.
Stephen King in your face and in your heart.
Yeah.
Eh.
All right. So I would like to does it matter, friends, who goes first this week?
I don't think so, really.
I feel like, well,
Or do you think?
I think maybe I should go first.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Because mine is in history.
Oh, that's
And
true. I guess
yours
if we're going to
isn't.
progress through history.
I love
Yeah.
history. I love
All right.
history. I'm so excited already. Okay, I'm cool with that. All right, Justine, take it away.
Well, first, actually, I'm going to let JB reveal.
Oh,
The
I get the
theme?
reveal. Oh, how
Yes.
courteous.
Well, because it was your idea.
Oh,
Aw.
we are going to talk about one of my very favorite spooky mythical creatures
Ooh.
ever.
Ooh, what?
We are going to talk about motherfucking vampires.
Oh, really? Vampires.
I love vampires.
Cool.
If any of you listeners out there went to the University of Pittsburgh,
Oh my God.
like me and Justine, holla!
I did not go. Heather did not go. I'm not cool.
But the University of Pittsburgh has the most ridiculous blow-off class ever, which was actually way too much work for a blow-off class.
Well, that's the thing. They trick you into thinking it's a blow-off class,
and
and
it's a
it's
fucking heavy
definitely
lit
not.
class.
oh,
oh,
really?
yeah.
There was a lot of
Oh,
literature.
so
Oh,
much
yeah.
reading. So
No.
much reading.
The blow-off classes, they're not blow-off classes. They're like legit hard work. You learn things. They're just very focused, like literature.
Oh, that
Yeah.
that's true. I took a King Arthur course, like an Arthurian legend course at Carlo, and it was a shit ton of reading. Like we read like 5 books. I read The Once and Future King. Like they're like, okay, now read this by next week. I'm like, what? Fuck. But okay.
Oh, but anyway, Pitt has this class called Vampire Blood and Empire, which I think anybody who kind of looked like they were maybe a weird person, their freshman advisor didn't make them take, but strongly encouraged them to take.
Well, and beyond that, I feel like everyone
Almost
I knew,
everyone I know took that class.
everyone I knew took that class by senior year.
Wait, the advisors encouraged you to take
Oh
this
yeah,
vampire
my
class.
freshman advisor took one look at me. He's like, oh, "You should probably take this vampire class. I think
Oh.
you'd really like it."
Oh, so they like
Oh.
They
basically
typed out whatever.
judged you by
I
your
had blue
appearance.
hair. Yeah.
Okay. I think the rest of us, we just were like, that sounds like a fucking cool class. Let's take it.
Yeah,
It was a cool class.
Yeah.
that's what I heard of it. It was legendary even to me, and I didn't even go there.
It was a cool class. So we're gonna talk about some vampires.
Yeah.
Cool.
So when Jen brought up the theme, I immediately went to Elizabeth Bathory,
Oh hell yeah, bitch!
the legendary, supposed alleged real life vampire that inspired Dracula. Again, all allegedly. So
I thought it was Vlad the Impaler that
Oh.
inspired Dracula.
it was like a combination.
True.
Anyway,
I'm
and it's
sure.
all speculation. Anyway, so
Vampire lore is very deep and rich. It's very nuanced.
Yeah.
So I will say, as far as like classic vampire goes, this is probably like on the outskirts of it, but she did sick stuff, and her life was interesting. So,
So is that who you're going to talk about?
yes. So
Yay!
All real vampires today.
Yeah.
Be scared.
Real. These are real vampire stories. That's the best kind.
Yeah.
Because that's extra sick. Because it's like it happened. Ooh, I'm so excited. This is like this is this is perfect. All right, continue. Keep going. This is like spookycation. Yay.
So I first learned about Elizabeth. Okay, first of all, I had to look up the pronunciation of a ton of the names in here because they're all Hungarian, and
Mhm.
I don't speak Hungarian, obviously.
Oh, you don't?
No,
Oh,
I know, I know.
Fucking pleb.
I'm getting kicked out of the podcast. So I used a website called forvo.com to teach me how to pronounce all this stuff, and I'm probably going to butcher it anyway. So
just try your best.
well, yes, what
All
I'm
good.
going to do is try my best, and then probably switch to anglicized versions of the names.
Okay.
As I go, because otherwise it's going to be way too distracting. So, Countess Elizabeth Bathory. That's how you pronounce it in Hungarian. I will be calling her Elizabeth.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Allegedly tortured and murdered up to 650 victims in her life. In her short
666?
life. No, 650.
Short
Sorry,
life.
buddy. She died when she was 53-ish.
Oh wow, yeah,
Yeah.
she was not that old.
No.
600 over.
Yes. Well, allegedly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this a lot, like, she was born in 1560. So there are, on the one hand, there are some very, very, very good accounts of what I'm about to describe. Like in the Budapest City Archives, like transcribed from testimony. But then on the other hand, there's a lot of it that is like myth and legend and hearsay. It happened so long ago that
people aren't necessarily record keeping this kind of thing.
Right. So some of this is very well recorded, and then some of it is not. So we're going to just kind of leave it there. So she has inspired numerous horror and vampire stories, including a short story written by the Brothers Grimm. I could not find the name of the short story, but there you go. And may also have indirectly inspired Bram Stoker's Dracula by way of another short story. So.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
That was an awesome burp.
That
I'm
sounded terrifying on the headphones.
It did. It sounded like
I was
a monster.
actually like, I was afraid for a second.
There's a monster inside of me and it came out.
I'm like, I thought like,
By a spike seltzer.
I don't even know what I thought.
It sounded like the Loch Ness Monster. Continue.
Anyway. So I'm also going to point out, so like I said, there's a lot, like there's some like we know for sure, and then some we don't know for sure. And even to that point, I know it's like a kind of source of debate as to whether she even did any crimes. I know there's some scholars who believe that it was a total setup by the patriarchy because she was a strong woman in charge. So I don't know how prevailing that theory is. There are many other scholars who are like, no, yes, she definitely killed people in very gross ways. Anyway, my point is, we're here to focus on the gross stuff today.
Yeah.
So we're not going to worry too much about the debate of
Who cares if it's true? Just enjoy the nasty.
Right. So she was born in Hungary in the year 1560, and her family was kind of a big deal. They pretty much ran Transylvania, and one of her uncles was the king of Poland. And she grew up in a castle in Échéd, Hungary, where it's said that her later violent tendencies were informed by witnessing really horrible things, like, for example, seeing a man accused of theft, tortured and executed by being sewn into the stomach of a dying horse.
What?
There's your tauntaun joke.
What? Sewn into the stomach of a dying horse?
Yes.
That's super nasty. Like, that's ooh.
And
Ooh.
And if you remember the
Some
episode,
Caligula shit.
Yeah, right?
well, if you remember the episode where we talked about medieval torture, you can kind of imagine what other sorts of things she might have seen growing up. Because
Twisted.
she was growing up, and that's when those kinds of punishments were commonplace. So,
And she had noble blood, so she probably had some inbred like crappy genes.
yes, actually, yes, her.
Oh, I
her
guess they're
family.
right.
Yeah, no, actually, her mother and father were. I didn't look to see. There was like a family tree on one of the sites that I referenced. I didn't look to see exactly like which cousins. It's not like they're first or even second cousins. Like you had to go back a couple generations, but they definitely had like maybe like a great or great grand person in common.
Yeah.
Her mom, like her mother,
That's
and
generally fine,
That's,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
That's generally
so-
pretty dilute by then.
well, but I think it was like a long-standing tradition of like. Anyway, both her parents were Bathories, like by birth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just different branches of the family.
okay.
It's also said that members of her family introduced her to Satanism and or witchcraft.
Ooh, tight.
Yeah, neither of which are considered to be bad things in this room.
Yeah.
No,
But in 16th
That's great.
century Europe, those are pretty bad things to be mixed up in.
We're all for it. Yeah, back in then it was like the Malleus Maleficarum was going strong, right?
Yeah, it was like
I know
it was,
that AFI song.
It was like
do you know what,
What?
that actually is? The Malleus Maleficarum is the witch hunter's like guide.
Oh, okay.
It's a book. It's basically like this is what the witch hunters use to, what do you call not Spanish Inquisition, but give them the third degree. Gave the witches the third degree and then dunked them in the water and
All that, yeah.
burned them at the stake and all that good shit.
Bad shit.
That shit.
All right. Anyway, so as a child of the Hungarian aristocracy, Elizabeth was very, very well educated. She could speak Latin, German, and Greek in addition to her native Hungarian. And due to her family, she had incredibly high social standing among the nobles. And when she was married at age 15 to Count Ferenc Nadezhdy, who I will hereafter anglicize as Franz, he took her name because she was so much higher up the ladder than he was.
Oh, that's pretty.
Hell
oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So at this time, there's a war going on between Hungary and the Ottomans, and Franz was often away fighting. And before long, Elizabeth was basically running Nádasdy Castle, all of their estates, and overseeing the health and well-being of the people who lived in the villages, which is pretty ironic.
She's like the boss at home, but it's ironic. You're saying it's ironic because she like murdered people.
Yeah,
also.
she was overseeing the health and well-being of these people. That is ironic. I believe in the true way, not in the Alanis Morissette way. Anyway. So as we're going to keep like zooming through her history here, Elizabeth gave birth to her first child in 1585 at the age of 25, which is actually pretty old.
Old ass maid.
Yeah, well, I mean, she got married at 15, so... But I think because Franz was away, probably because Franz was away at war so much, I'm guessing, is why it took so long.
Well, when you die when you were 28 on average, you know.
She went on to have several more children over the next decade and a half. And so it turns out that even though Elizabeth and Franz's marriage was entirely political, they did have cruelty in common, as he was known to kick around the heads of Turkish soldiers he had killed.
Ew!
And dance with their corpses.
What?
Yes.
Before or after the heads were cut off?
Probably both.
Yeah.
Why not?
Fuck.
Oh,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And it's also said that Franz participated in some of her early torture, although her sadistic methods apparently ramped up after his death in 1604, when she moved to Chochtyksy Castle, in which is now Slovakia.
Was everybody just really brutal back then? Like,
well, I mean,
sounds very brutal.
I think that's part of it. You know, like we were saying earlier, that she grew up witnessing, that kind of brutality. Mm-hmm.
It's like video games.
And then if you also consider like, you know, maybe if the nobles truly believe that they're like more human and that these peasants are less human.
Yeah.
You know, there may have been some of that going around. Anyway, who can say? Or she was just, you know, fucking evil. Who knows?
The peasants are less human. That's so rude. We're the modern day peasants.
Right.
We're the peasants.
True.
So, in between Franz's death in 1604 and 1610, young girls from nearby villages started to go missing. A lot of them.
Oh, God.
Never good.
At first, they were peasant girls who had gone to the castle to work as servants. And when they would disappear, their families didn't have any pull to do anything about it. But after some time, Elizabeth kind of ran out of peasant daughters to take advantage of. And so she moved on to luring the daughters of lesser nobles, claiming to offer them a place to learn court etiquette. And it's also said she may have resorted to kidnapping girls who refused to go to the castle due to the rumors that were now spreading.
Ooh. So word is out, that people are disappearing. We don't yet know what's going on.
Not for sure, no.
But
there's rumors.
There's rumors that people are talking. Everybody talk.
Yeah, and it got to the point where, like, before people would, like, these girls would go willingly because it was such a great opportunity, and then it became, you don't go there.
I haven't seen Mary in a while. Yeah. Where the fuck's she been?
So once she had moved on to victimizing daughters of, you know, lesser nobles, so, you know, still not as important as her, but people that maybe were bound to be noticed, like more noticeable that they were missing.
Yeah.
Eventually,
like that's why prostitutes gets killed, you know, and like vagrants, like hobos get killed because nobody goes looking for them.
This is the second time you brought up murdering hobos in 2 weeks.
Oh, it's true.
No comment. Continue.
Okay. So eventually the rumors got bad enough that King Matthias of Hungary ordered an investigation led by Georg Torzo, or George, who also happened to be related to Elizabeth. I could not find out exactly how. I feel like I remember reading somewhere that he was her uncle, but then somewhere else it looked like he was younger than her, which doesn't mean that he can't be her uncle. I'm just not super clear.
Okay.
Anyway.
No worries.
It's fine. Long story short, the investigation yielded the discovery of at least one corpse and over 300 witnesses to Elizabeth's bad habits.
300 witnesses, but only one corpse.
Well, okay, when I say only one corpse when they initially raided the castle.
Okay. Were they all hidden in the basement, John Wayne Gacy style?
This is one of the things where it's not super clear because it happened so long ago.
Right.
So I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
So here's what they found.
I was only joking anyways.
Anyway, this is really bad. So we already did that medieval torture episode. So I've already like horrified you with all those descriptions of gross ways
Like
to
those
torture and kill
pears.
people. Yeah. When I was this somehow felt worse when I was researching it. Maybe
Oh,
it's because
God.
it was like about a specific person who had been doing it. I don't know. Because anyway, and also because these are all like young girls that this was happening to. Like, so between the ages of like 10 and 14.
Oh my God.
It's really, really horrible. So
it's like, dude, I just got my period and now I
Yeah.
have to deal with this.
So
Christ.
yeah. So as as we get all morbid about this, these were real girls who lived, 500 plus years ago, and what happened to them is really, really terrible.
Yeah.
So the corpse found in the initial raid was of a girl whose hands had been burned and breasts bitten after being accused of stealing a pear.
Oh.
Okay, and now the second bullet is already contradicting what I said before. I guess they saw more than one corpse, because the next bullet says one of the men involved in the raid later recounted seeing girls' corpses everywhere they looked, many with no eyes or arms.
Oh.
The same man remembered seeing dogs running around with corpse pieces in their mouths due to being buried in shallow graves on the castle grounds.
Well, I mean.
So this might have been them going through the castle after the initial raid. So when George Torzo went in and was arresting you.
Yeah.
I think they found one dead body then, but I think they found more after that.
So this is interesting because I didn't really know that she got found out. Like she got in trouble.
Yes. And we'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was she actually bathing in the blood?
We'll get to that too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, blood definitely factors into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even get to the vampiric part.
Blood.
Well, okay. And it's kind of what I was trying to say before, and I'll reiterate it now. It's like tenuously related to vampires. It's very tenuous. Well, because she did inspire a lot of vampire lore.
That's true. Yeah.
People tend to romanticize her now as like a vampire figure.
Yeah.
But her actual actions are like tenuous.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
There's some blood play.
Oh yeah.
Blood play.
Yeah.
Ew.
It's a fucking thing, dude. Don't be a prude.
She was murdering people.
Well, I mean, no,
Don't be a
her blood
prude.
play is sick, nasty, but she's being a prude about blood play in general.
All right.
Anyway,
Christ.
let's get back.
So during the trial, witnesses described seeing or even participating in the following methods of torture and execution: tying up victims and stabbing them with scissors and needles, or beating them until they literally turned, quote, black as charcoal.
Ugh. So this was just her personally doing these beatings.
No, actually, a lot of this stuff was her servants doing
Ordering.
this stuff at her, like
Behest.
her ordering them to do these things. Some of these things she did herself. A lot of them was her ordering, like she had like a small inner core of like her most loyal servants, and they were the ones who carried out a lot of the brutality.
God, complicit as fuck. They're like the
yeah.
Ivanka and like Don Jr.
Well, because they knew if they didn't, she would do the same to them.
They had no choice.
Yeah.
Oh.
They knew that they would. Instead, they would get beaten and tortured and murdered. So,
Oh, Christ.
yeah, it was
Real
a
Sophie's choice there, fellas.
bad situation. All right. Cutting into their fingers and veins of their fingers with scissors.
Ooh.
Shoving hot pokers into noses and mouths or applying it to the feet. I did not see this written down specifically, but I'm pretty sure the hot pokers went into other places too.
They're bum-bums.
And the other.
Physically,
Their vagines.
I'm gonna connect the dots
Their
there.
bum-bums and their vagines. Let's just say.
Physically ripping apart someone's mouth with her bare hands. So that's something she did.
Oh.
What?
One of the witnesses testified to seeing her reach into a girl's mouth with her hands and physically rip it apart by pulling at the corners of the mouth.
That's
What
goddamn chimpanzee strength.
I was just going to say, what is she? King Kong? Literally. God.
Ugh.
Snipping into the skin between the fingers. So like
Little
the little
webs.
webs.
Ow. She just, what?
Just a
So
psycho.
sadistic, bitch.
Yes.
She was a sadistic
is.
bitch.
Ugh.
Burning genitals with lit paper or candles.
Oh, my genitals.
Biting victims, sometimes until they died.
Biting them. She just
biting
really
them.
liked to bite people.
Yes, she loved to bite people.
So that's very vampire
Yes.
of you.
She loved to bite people, and really very often like on their breasts and like the very soft parts of their bodies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Cooking and eating her victims' flesh.
Oh, she Dahmered it too?
Mhm.
I didn't know she did that.
Also forcing her servants to eat
Human flesh.
yes,
Oh, man. Really?
or forcing victims to eat other victims' flesh,
fucking
etc.
sick.
Here's one: chaining victims to the wall and force feeding them to fatten them up and increase their blood volume so that they had more to bleed.
Sick.
Because
She needed that blood, man. She needed that blood to stay young.
allegedly.
Allegedly.
One victim was forced to strip flesh off of her own arm.
Filleting herself.
What?
Mhm.
Ooh, wah.
Victims were
She's the original Ramsay.
Oh, Ramsay Bolton.
victims were forced into small cages filled with spikes. So
That's kind of garden variety torture.
stabby all over.
Yeah, that's bad.
This one I thought was really crazy.
What?
Lighting explosive placed between the legs.
In the crotch?
Like putting
or just
it-
like between the legs?
It wasn't clear. I'm assuming in the
Putting
crotch.
in an M80 up your hoo-ha? Is that what we're saying?
It didn't say inside them. It said lighting explosives placed between the legs. That's what it said.
Use your imagination.
That sounded pretty crazy to me.
Did they have M80s?
I don't think they had M80s. I think they had like fireworks type stuff.
Yeah.
Gun dynamite?
I don't fucking know,
Well,
guys.
I mean, they weren't in China. Chinese
This is-
people have had those for centuries.
This is like basically like the year 1609.
God. Either way, like she's just like, she's more than I thought. I didn't know it was this much like torture.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I thought it was like you always hear about she bled people in the bathtub and she was in the bathtub and just languishing in this bloody
bathing.
bathtub.
No, she was. I mean, what's interesting is that part of the story is most likely made up.
What? Oh.
That part of the story is most likely not true.
So the sicker stuff, honestly, arguably, I would say the sicker stuff is the truer stuff.
So what I'm recounting right now, this is what was recorded in testimony by the witnesses
Yeah.
that were found during the investigation, and all of this that I'm listing out now. I believe, because I had to get this from like secondhand sources because I don't read Hungarian. In the Budapest City archives.
How dare you not?
This is like, yeah. So the bathing in blood is like some of the myths that arose after her death. But I'm going to get to that in a second.
Okay.
I have two more gross things she did.
What?
Pouring water over victims outside in the freezing cold, killing them as ice statues.
What? Oh my God. What? That's reminding me of like the chronic what calls of Narnia. Like that's basically like making me think of like the land of Narnia and like turning those people into statues. The Ice Queen turning people into statues. She legit did that too.
Apparently.
Good. Oh my God.
Here's one more. You're going to like this one.
Oh, cool.
Because you've brought it up before.
Oh.
Covering victims in honey and leaving them to be attacked by ants and wasps, aka scaphism.
Scaphism.
Which-
We
yeah.
have talked about that before.
Which
Yeah.
the Virgo upstairs taught us about way back in episode whatever that
Episode,
was.
like 3 or 2, something
I
like
don't
that.
know.
It was like forever ago.
She did that.
Yeah, damn.
Mhm.
Like, I want to know, did she come up with all of these sadistic ideas herself?
So that's a good question.
Really?
So, it kind of goes back to, one, she grew up seeing a lot of gross stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's certainly possible that she was replicating some things she saw growing up. It's certainly, I'm sure she came up with some of it herself, seeing as she clearly enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, she did it so fucking much.
Her husband was also sadistic. He may have taught her things, or she taught him things.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just, all in all, it sounds like a pretty terrifying like family to be around.
Cruel nobility.
So throughout all of this, and so like, during the testimony, during the trial, throughout all of this was an undercurrent of witchcraft and Satanism. So most of the witnesses claimed that the blood of the victims was used in various rituals. And one witness claimed to have seen Elizabeth sitting on the devil's lap and that Elizabeth had forced this witness to have sex with the devil, who is apparently very well endowed.
Oh.
Well, that's nice.
This is also written down in the testimony. I find it so
maybe take the testimony with the great.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I made her have sex with the devil, and he's
got
a
nice dick.
That's like basically what she said.
Oh
apparently.
My God.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what would you expect Satan himself to have?
That's true. Like, you think Satan has a little wiener?
No.
Of course not.
No. Satan's gonna, oh God.
So let's stop right there. Just stop. So kind of like to go back to what we were talking about before, the one persisting myth that isn't really part of any official testimony is that of her penchant for bathing in her victim's blood to preserve her youth.
Yeah.
Most of those stories originated at least a full century following her death.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of where the myth thing comes in. Most likely people were maybe speculating why, because I mean, it's pretty clear that she's clearly sadistic, clearly enjoyed hurting people, enjoyed drawing blood, blood, like lots of blood involved. So they were maybe possibly speculating as to why. Some like scholars who study her and have written papers on her, they see it as kind of like a almost like very kind of sexist reading of her history because of this idea that, well, because she was a woman, of course she was obsessed with youth and beauty. Of course.
She could have no reason.
Yeah.
She couldn't just be a sick fuck.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yes.
She's obsessed with her looks.
Mm-hmm.
She has to, oh my God. Yeah, because men write the history books. I mean, duh.
Yeah, so it's unlikely that she bathed in blood.
Yeah, because you know what? I don't know if y'all guys knew, but like blood congeals very fast and it just turns into like a gigantic like blob, like a mass. Like,
and I'm not sure what
solid.
their anticoagulants were like back then.
Yeah, they didn't have them.
No.
Like they didn't have them at all. So it's basically you would just be like sitting in a giant blood clot. Like, ladies, you all know. Just imagine that times 1,000.
Yeah, no.
Ew, gross.
Yeah. You all know when, okay, I don't want to see ladies. I want to say people who menstruate. You all know.
Right. So only one accomplice refused to testify against Elizabeth. And as a punishment, her eyes were gouged out, her breasts were cut off, and then she was burned at the stake.
Oh, shit.
The remaining accomplices who did comply with testimony were tortured or executed anyway.
Oh.
Variously by having their fingers pulled off, beheading, or being buried alive.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Well, I'd say getting fucking beheaded is the best choice you got there.
Oh, yeah, that was like...
But they still got tortured anyway, beforehand.
Oh, it's like...
Well, it's the 1600s.
Fingers. Oh.
Yeah, just fucking chop off my head and be done with it, man.
Sliced.
Kind of to go back to, like you said before, Heather, you didn't know that that she had ever like had any consequences for her actions.
Yeah.
So this whole time, this trial that was being held, Elizabeth wasn't actually on trial. I think it was more of a trial to determine what had happened.
Like the Mueller report.
So basically, because
investigation,
Elizabeth was extremely, extremely powerful. So at this point, Franz had died, so she controlled everything. Like everything that was hers and his is all hers. The king of Hungary, so King Matthias, actually owed her tons of money. And so there's like a lot of political ramifications. So some people say that the charges were trumped up because the king wanted to get out of paying her back.
I would not. I don't disbelieve that.
And then I think other people think that because George Torzo was related to her, and because she was such like an important member of society at the time, they wanted to avoid the scandal of bringing her to trial, kind of besmirching the Bathory name, etc. So she was never she wasn't executed. So she was not executed. I don't think she was ever actually formally charged, but she was sentenced to house arrest for the rest of her life.
Oh,
so
boo.
that was a compromise.
Keep doing what she's been doing.
No, she was bricked up. in a room in her castle at Choctaxy.
She was like Cask of the Amontillado.
Pretty much. She was bricked up and didn't have face-to-face contact with anyone.
Oh, she was in solitary.
Yes.
Oh,
there were like small slits.
Well, that is
in the
torture.
brick to pass her food. And I think she could. I think people could come and like maybe talk to her, or she could like pass letters out. But she was in there for 3 years before she died, sometime in 1614.
What, of like fucking pneumonia? Because like Jesus,
Unclear.
Yeah,
it was the 1600s. That's when people died.
Yeah. I mean, she lived till 50 something. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like that was a pretty good age for that time period.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was before antibiotics. So there you go.
So that's that story.
Cool. Well, yeah, that was awesome. I learned some stuff I did not know.
Yeah. I had previously believed the bathing in the virgin's blood lore.
Yeah, honestly, that's like all you hear about that. That's the long and the short of it, really. I didn't hear about any of the other, like freezing people to death into statues was like pretty rad. I enjoyed that part quite a bit. That's sick.
So I'm gonna right now I'm gonna plug it's a novel, so it's a fictionalized account of her story, and also blended with a contemporary story. It's extremely like I'm not gonna say it's like good literature at all.
Is it like historical fiction type of deal?
Yeah, it's historical fiction, but it does use like it uses the true, like the real like sources and testimony. It's very well researched. It's also very clearly like dramatized. A lot of holes filled in and like speculation made. So I would not read it as like a true history. But the reason why I'm recommending it is because it is sick as fuck.
Sweet.
It is a sick read. I can't even, like, you thought this was gross. Like you thought this was disturbing.
Yeah.
This book will like, I mean, and that's why I'm recommending it.
What's what's
Yeah,
it
drop
called?
that plug.
It's called, give me a second.
I'm excited.
It's called The Blood Countess.
Ooh,
And it's written by Andrei Codrescu.
cool.
It came out in the mid-90s, I think.
It sounds
So,
like
I
That's good.
highly recommend it if you just want to read something about her that is just full of just like gross thing after horrifying thing.
I think
it's
I
just-
do.
Well, there you go.
I might read that.
Recommend.
Actually, that sounds awesome.
Yep.
Sweet. Thanks.
You're welcome.
That was great.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, JB, it is now your turn. So, you have hinted that you're going to bring this into the modern age.
I'm going to bring it into the modern age.
All right.
I'm sorry, my friends, for all my lighthearted friends out there,
Why?
because vampires are real.
What?
They're real. They're out there.
They walk amongst us.
They walk amongst us.
Are they afraid of garlic?
Some people don't like garlic. It's fine.
Hmm.
I mean, I personally think you're a monster if you don't like garlic, but
Yeah.
what you gonna do? Well, so there's like kind of the gothic, fancy, Anne Rice, New Orleans lifestyle type vampires out there, just like walking around with parasols, pretending they're allergic to the sun, just like, oh, I'm a vampire. Those people exist.
Can't
I'm
see
sorry, it's
JB
fine.
do the jerk off motion.
I think being goth is cool, so I'm really not hating, but I'm just saying that that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay. No posers. No posers. This is real vampires.
Exactly. And then there's the people who are like kind of interested in blood play for doing kinky sex stuff.
So blood play is like actually like cutting yourself and
Like, yeah, rubbing her. I'm making gestures, which is me putting my tongue out and like just rubbing weirdly.
Like biting each other and sucking the
Yeah,
blood.
and cutting and drinking blood. But
whatever you can do, whatever you do that's between two or more consenting adults is fine. But I'm just saying,
and it's,
make sure you're tested for bloodborne pathogens.
But yeah, whatever, it's fine. I don't give a shit. I'm also not talking about that.
Okay, not talking about that.
I'm not talking. No, I don't care about people who are doing this for fun.
Mm-hmm.
No. And then there are also, if any of you have watched the What We Do in Shadows TV show,
What We Do in the Shadows.
What
yeah.
We Do in the Shadows.
It's
Thank you.
So it's very brilliant. It's very good.
Which actually introduced me to a different kind of vampire, the emotional vampire, the psychic vampire.
Yeah, like where you suck people's emotional energy.
And in modern vampire communities, a psi vampire, the emotional vampires that
A
feed.
sigh, like
PSI.
Oh, PSI. I thought
Yeah,
you were
like that
saying like
sigh.
acai.
Yeah, that's what
like
I
the
thought.
fruit.
No.
Oh, okay.
Like this blueberry acai, truly. No,
not
no,
the
no.
fruit, not the super berry.
And then they feed off of like your life force and your psychic energy.
They make you feel like real shitty.
Like they just drain because they just feed off of your. I'm not talking about them either.
They're kind of like Dementors. They feed your happiness.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to bring it into another fandom.
Yeah, it'll just make us look so cool. No, I want to talk about actual real life motherfucking blood drinkers.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Who are these people? Who are
They're
these
not really doing
vampires?
Well, most of them, they like to call themselves sanguinarians,
All right.
which I think is a fucking fantastic word.
That is.
This is like an identity.
Yes, sanguinarians, or sanguine vampires.
Okay.
The term sanguinarian comes from the Latin word sanguinarius, which means bloodthirsty.
Oh, Christ.
Ooh.
Most of the information that I was able to find was cited over quite a few different sources. It was from a study done by John Edgar Browning in 2009 on a real life vampire community in New Orleans called the New Orleans Vampire Association.
Oh.
Yeah, he is someone who basically his entire academic career has been based on vampire lore.
Do they call themselves Nova?
They do.
Ha.
Have you heard of this?
No, I just put the acronym together
Yeah.
in my brain.
You're so smart. So he estimates that there are probably about 50 vampires in most major U.S. cities
What?
Mhm.
and about 5,000 nationwide.
Okay, so I have many questions. I don't know if you're gonna.
Arf.
You're
I mean,
probably gonna
I still got more stuff to go.
Yeah, you're gonna answer a bunch of these questions, but like,
Hopefully.
these people, they feed off of other people's blood. Are the other victims willing? Are there vampires that prey? Actually, like they just like to drink other people's blood, which I would like to say is not good for you. You should not drink blood. It's actually not good for you.
I will get to both of those points.
Okay.
Do you have more?
Not right now, but
Okay.
probably future. Yes.
All right. My first thought, of course, is should I be scared?
Should we be frightened?
Should I be
Is
scared?
there something to be worried about here?
Should I be worried?
I'm not scared.
You got bones of steel.
No, my blood just tastes like garlic.
Maybe you're just not hydrated properly.
That too. That's
Maybe you just don't have the
true.
right blood type. Some blood types are tastier than others.
Are we going to learn which ones?
No, it just says some people prefer that blood
it's just
type
like a preference.
does factor into taste.
Oh, like
but,
True Blood. Oh, I don't really like the O negative.
yeah.
You know.
I personally have a AB positive universal receiver.
Oh, is that what you have?
Yeah.
I have O positive.
Oh, you got some common shit.
I'm
rare.
I'm A something or other. I can never remember. My mom knows.
So you're like medium common.
Hmm.
But no, don't be scared, kids. Don't be scared. Modern vampires are civilized and all donations are done by either a verbal or a written contract. Generally. I mean, obviously there's, wild screws running around, but
So
it's
like
consenting.
it's all consensual.
like in What We Do in the Shadows, like the vampires will have a familiar that will allow them to drink off of them. Is that what this is?
sort of, but no, it's not like What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh.
It's not.
It's not Guillermo.
Unfortunately, no. Most donors are friends or intimate partners, although some donate to make some money.
Mhm.
A donor is actually often called a black swan vampire.
What?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's a word that they use in the community.
Not a familiar. They're
No.
black swan vampires because they're willing to give up their blood.
I don't know why they say black swan vampire. I like it.
The Natalie Portman status. It's just high. That's high praise to be akin to Natalie Portman.
That's true. So both donors and sanguinarians are screened for diseases at a blood donation center or a health clinic.
Good. I was just gonna. Oh my
I told
God.
you, girl. I'm getting to your questions.
Whole time I'm like, come on, bloodborne pathogens. I mean, there are just so many diseases that you can get from like drinking other people's blood.
There are.
Okay,
And they do try to do this all on the up and up, and obviously even doing the screening at the clinics or a blood donation center, it doesn't screen for every single bloodborne pathogen that you can get, but it does screen for most of the common ones.
Yeah.
And obviously the most deadly ones.
I've donated plasma before, and they ask you about all of them. Like they're so thorough. They're like, have you been out of the country? Where have you gone? Do you have Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease? Like all of these questions.
I don't think so.
I mean,
Yeah.
I hope not, because I'm gonna die.
They're like literally, so if they're put through that rigmarole, which I think they probably are, because if you can donate blood, I mean,
I've gotten rejected for donating blood so many times.
because you got tattoos within the
I
last
was gonna say, I've been
And then
tattooed.
my dental implant, and then there was times where like my blood pressure is just really, I don't even have high blood pressure, but I always get high blood pressure whenever I have to donate. I get all stressed out about it.
Yeah, well, that can happen.
All right. So the blood is clean, assuming.
Yeah.
And so how do they get the blood? Usually the donations are done with medical equipment.
So they just phlebotomy.
Exactly. Yeah. So with syringes, IVs, lancets, scalpels, whatever. I can't pronounce things.
Scalpel.
Sometimes they store it in a vial or in a bag with anticoagulants if they have extra. But sometimes the vampire does drink directly from the source.
Ugh.
Actually, Browning, who did this study, he was a fucking team player, dog. He was a donor for somebody in the community, and what they did was, they cleaned everything up, and he had his back cut open. They tried to pick an area that's not going to scar too badly.
Mm-hmm.
So they cut open his back, and the vampire just lapped at his back wound.
Ew.
Yeah.
Now, is this a sexual thing?
For some people it is, some people it isn't.
Yeah.
It's not inherently.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Do these people have an iron deficiency?
Yeah.
Some people do, some people don't.
That's a good question, Justine, because
Yeah, there's various reasons
I'm
people
just
do the
I'm just
feeding.
trying to think what would compel one to want to do, to
the
crave
craving
this.
to taste blood, which does taste like you're licking a penny.
Yeah.
Literally, it's
This
so
is so good.
metallic.
I'm crafting the story that you're asking the questions I want you to ask right when I'm about to get to the answers.
Yes. Okay.
Because literally my next note was, why are they drinking blood?
Why?
Yeah,
It's
why?
like they're not undead monsters then.
Why,
Clearly,
Satan? Why? They
they're
don't
in control
need
of
it.
their actions. Why are they doing this?
Yeah.
Another resource I found was the Atlanta Vampire Alliance, which defines vampires as individuals who cannot adequately sustain their well-being without the taking of blood or life force from another being, oftentimes a human.
They cannot sustain their life force.
Uh,
I have a hard time believing that.
Well, I mean, whatever. People define things the way they need to define them. They're not hurting anybody, whatever.
Yeah.
But from Browning's research, most sanguinarians discovered that they had this need in adolescence. Normally, they'd be experiencing some kind of physical malady, headaches, achiness, extreme fatigue.
That's when the iron deficiency first manifested. When they got their periods and they started bleeding out all of
they
their
had no
iron.
idea what was good. And they accidentally would drink an amount in blood. Like maybe they had a nosebleed or a bad cut or they split a lip. And they felt better after they did that.
Oh, so the blood was like, oh, I tasted that blood and it made things better.
And I felt so good. And because, they're teenagers and teenagers are lunatics.
Oh my God, I would never go back to being a teenager. It was the worst time
It's not
of
your
my
fault,
life.
teenagers. Like,
I
get it. We were
You'll
there.
outgrow it. It's fine.
I cannot emphasize enough. It is not your fault. Like
But you are
hormones.
crazy. And
The
it's not your fault.
hormones.
Oh yeah. First of all, yes.
It's not your fault.
Everything you're feeling
Ugh.
is valid and not valid at the same time, and it's okay. And I'm
It's
very sorry.
Oh,
I'm
it's
sorry.
horrible.
It sucks.
Oh,
Oh my God.
I would never go back to being
I spent so much time just sobbing at the
So much
teenager.
crying.
having so many feelings.
Just-
so many
oh my God,
intense
all the
feelings.
goddamn
feeling
feelings.
so intensely that
Peaks
no
and valleys.
No one understood.
Yeah.
Oh my
The
God.
best day. This is the worst day all in 10 minutes.
So many
It's-
peaks and
it's not-
valleys.
it's not
so
your-
intense.
It's not your fault, guys.
Teens, just keep on doing what you're doing.
It does.
It's fine.
It's cliche, but it does get better.
You're fine.
I love
swear.
You just
I love
gotta get through
teens.
it.
I'm sorry, teens.
Yeah.
Okay, where were we?
Anyway, so because most of them are teenagers, and that happens, so they conclude there's the blood that revitalized them. Clearly, that's the only answer.
They associate one with the other. So.
I felt good after I drank blood, so blood makes me feel good.
Okie dokie, Smokey.
And so some other problems that blood consumption is used to treat are migraines, stomach pain, Crohn's disease, celiac disease, gastritis, inflammation of the GI tract, and joint pain.
No, I got that IBS.
Oh, anything going with the pooper, I suppose.
Tootin'.
So whatever, it's working. Sounds good, right? I don't know. It doesn't. It sounds disgusting. How much blood do they drink?
Yeah.
How much
good
blood do
question.
you think they drink?
You know what?
You probably have a little bit more of an inside scoop than most.
It
But
probably looks like they drink a lot, but it's probably only like 10 cc's, which is 10 milliliters.
I don't know what that means. I was gonna be
Yeah.
like a teaspoon to a tablespoon.
Yeah,
you're
close.
Okay, you guys are both on point. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So most feedings are about 1 to 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
Wait, Heather and I have to high five really
Yeah,
quick.
high five.
Yeah.
That was great.
I'm the Foley.
I love the Foley artist.
But there was one report from one person that Browning followed who would drink between like 6 shots and a cup to treat her IBS, which is a lot of blood.
Oh my
A
God.
lot.
Like a day
No.
at a time.
At a time, though. Yeah, most feedings, some people would feed the kind of regular amount, I guess. The 1 to 2 tablespoons, maybe a few times a week. But for most people, it seemed to be every couple weeks to like every few months. It wasn't like a
Every
day
thing.
like where the beast was taking over and you have to feed every day. But obviously, you guys didn't think it was going to be a lot of blood anyway. But some people may think that they're just feeding and draining. So why would you not drink more blood? If a little bit of blood makes you feel good, wouldn't a lot of blood make you feel real good? No.
Does a lot of blood just make you feel sick?
It does make you feel real sick. It's because of the iron in the blood.
Yeah, it tastes like you licked a penny.
And if you have more than a few tablespoons, it'll probably make you sick. It'll probably make you throw up. It'll give you a stomach ache. It'll make you nauseous.
Yeah, because you're not supposed to drink blood.
You are not supposed to drink blood.
And your shits will be really disgusting.
And if you drink if you really overdo it on the iron, you can go into here, Heather. I'm going to need you to word check me. Hemochromatosis.
Yeah, very good.
That sounds like a word. Yeah.
Yeah,
perfect. Actually,
hemochromatosis, and the long-standing effects of having that disease are an increased risk of heart disease, liver disease, and diabetes.
Wow.
So that's pretty severe consequences to.
Don't drink blood.
Don't.
This disease sounds kind of like I shouldn't say disease. Not really disease, but it sounds kind of like pica, where
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Yeah, you crave something that's not supposed to be eaten. You're not supposed to eat blood.
No, I was gonna say it almost sounds like it's a form of pica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some kind of obsessive compulsive.
Well,
Pica is a form of OCD, isn't it?
No, pica is where you crave to eat things that are not edible. Oftentimes it's clay, and a lot of times it's when women that are that are pregnant, it happens to them. They'll want to drink like nail polish, or they'll not maybe do it, but they'll get the urge to do it. The overwhelming
kind
urge.
of like the My Strange Addiction kind of thing.
Yeah, like eating chalk. Yeah, clay is always brought up. Clay is a popular
Paper,
one.
hair.
Yeah, paper. Yeah, totally. There was once a girl that was like all about eating. Oh yeah, it was chalk. Sorry, yeah, that was the one I was thinking of. She was just eating rods and rods of chalk. So yeah, this blood eating sounds like that. And when you eat like a really, really raw steak and there's blood in it and you shit, your shit smells terrible. Like, I don't know if you know what carnivore shit smell like. Like,
it smells bad.
If you go to the zoo and you smell a tiger shit or a lion shit versus like a deer shit, it smells terrible. Whereas a deer shit doesn't really smell like anything.
Like cat shit. Cat shit smells bad.
Yeah, cat shit smells bad.
Especially if you feed your cat a raw diet, which my cats don't really seem to be into that kind of food. I'm always like, I try to give my cat like a little bit of salmon. I'm cooking a salmon. They're like, I don't want that.
Raw diet's how they get toxoplasmosis.
Oh, is it? I believe they already have it. And I have it.
And
I
everyone
think
has it.
I'm pretty sure I contracted it when I was like 3.
We're
so-
poisoned. Or all of our brains have toxoplasmosis because we're just like such cat ladies.
All right. So does this help anybody?
No.
Well, in blood's defense, in the defense of blood.
That's a lot the way it sounds.
I know. That's why I paused for dramatic effect.
Defensive
I'm a
blood.
storyteller. Blood is highly nutritious.
No.
It's got nutrients in it.
Still don't eat it though.
But just let me finish my thought.
And
it is a natural laxative.
ugh.
So it could very well help people who have gastrointestinal issues.
Whatever, you get a bunch of Rambo shit.
There's other ways you can help people with gastrointestinal issues.
That doesn't mean that this could not also help.
Humira.
That's bad. I would much rather drink blood than take Humira.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Mention
There's the-
Humira in every episode.
That's the J. We're gonna get sued.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Trademark.
Whatever. If anything, they should be giving me money. I'm
Humira's
free publicity for free.
Humira is great.
Yeah, I just said I would rather drink blood than take Humira.
You can give it for anything. You got a blood addiction? Humira. Like, it's for everything.
Do you think you're a vampire? Oh, no.
Humira, you could take it for that plaque psoriasis, blood addiction, vampirism.
Sanguinarianism.
Morgellons
Humira.
disease.
Humira.
No.
Ugh. And then there's another theory, non-Humira based, that people whose bodies can't absorb nutrients from food can draw the dissolved nutrients from the blood.
This is a theory, not proven though.
It's not proven.
Yeah, like how many studies have been
Sounds
done?
like
I don't know how many.
bullshit to me.
Yeah, that's why I said theorize, not as a fact.
Okay.
Okay. The laxative is true though. I guess eating blood will make you poop.
Yeah. Like I said, Rambo shits.
But there are those within the sanguinarian community. There is actually a woman who, I don't know if this is her sanguinarian name or her real name or just a pen name, but she goes by Kinesia.
Yeah.
Kinesia?
She made that up
Kinesia.
for herself.
Yeah. It might be a birth name. So, hey, Kinesia. I'm sure you're listening.
Hey, girl.
And she's somebody who's trying to look for genetic answers for this.
Oh, cool.
And I went on her website. She runs a website called sanguinarians.com. And she's not trained in the medical profession or in the scientific research, but she's trying to kind of learn and do it on her own.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the articles were way too fucking science-based for me, and my little head could not handle them.
Oh, shit.
But if you're interested in looking into the science of the gene mutations that she's looking into, sanguinarians.com.
Totes.
But she submitted her information to a few of those kind of gene analyzation websites like 23andMe, and there's another one that she mentioned.
Yeah.
So trying to, I guess, isolate things to see if there's a reason why I want to drink blood.
Yeah.
It sounds like confirmation bias to me. I remain skeptical.
That's
I think I'm thinking with you, Justine. Agreed.
Think she's looking for a certain answer.
Yeah.
And she's gonna
that's
find
like,
it.
Oh, you have this gene. It means you're a vampire. You have the vampire gene.
That's the coolest gene to have.
I mean, I don't think it's not cool.
Next to having the Billy D. Williams gene.
But there's quite a few people within the community who they don't want to be doing this. Like, it's probably incredibly inconvenient, and there's obviously the huge taboo, and you don't want to get outed as a vampire in the community, especially if you have kids or something like that.
It's like they must vampire,
Then
but
why are they doing it?
because they must.
Because they must.
They sound like they're brainwashed.
It's like serial killers. You must.
And a lot of them like even acknowledge that this very well may be psychosomatic. However, they're kind of
That's why
unable to.
So it's like this insatiable craving,
That's why it sounds sexual
and
to
they've
me.
given themselves over to it. Well, no, I mean,
There are people who are sexually into it, but some people are just like, oh, I gotta go take my medicine, which is Marty's blood.
Marty's blood.
I gotta take 2 cc's of Marty. So that's about what I got. And I guess my hot take on this is it's definitely gross. And it's definitely
sick.
weird, but it seems like for the most part, people are doing this in a safe fashion and they're not hurting anybody. And I guess that's fine. And I also really hope that there's a fucking vampire gene.
Yeah, same. I agree with co-sign all of that.
Yeah.
Ditto.
So, okay. So you said that there are it's believed that there are small groups of these people in like basically every major city. Were you able to find any evidence of a Pittsburgh chapter?
I did not look into a Pittsburgh chapter, but I did find like what was the top 10 vampire cities in the United States.
Do tell.
And Pittsburgh did not make the list. I figured we're so gloomy that we would have made the list.
Oh no, that doesn't surprise me because Pittsburgh's like not even the top 50 largest cities in the country.
I know, but we're like one of the gloomiest, darkest cities.
But we're not goth.
Seattle's on the list, yeah. Atlanta is one of the top ones. New Orleans is one of the top
Obviously.
ones. Yeah.
Well, I went to Seattle, the Pacific Northwest, last month, and it is what they all say. It's so overcast and just damp everywhere. And we drove through Forks, which is the Twilight Town. So I was in like, the vampire area out there, if you will.
Did you see anybody glittering in the sunlight?
Glistening in the sun. Yeah, we stopped there to get gas, and the person that worked at the Sunoco was just glistening. Glistening and glittering, and I was like, ooh, vampires. Vampires all over this town.
Oh,
Forks, Washington. I love the Pacific Northwest, so that was beautiful.
So, okay, I have another comment. What do we think the Venn diagram is of people who believe in drinking blood and people who are anti-vaccinations?
Oh no.
I bet there's a crossover there.
I would hope there.
I bet there's a crossover there. It just sounds like the same kind of pseudoscience, like believing in, like the same people who think like essential oils will cure everything that ails you.
I'm sure there's definitely an intersection of essential oils peoples, sanguinarians, and anti-vaxxers.
I
for
mean,
sure.
there is a lid for every pot. Right?
Sure.
Whatever. It's fine.
Yeah. So anything else, JB? Is that the end of the story?
That's all I got. I could have researched this forever. I thought it was actually a really interesting thing to read about.
So this is reminding me, I don't know if you remember this, or if you came across this on your research, but Jenny Jones back in the day, who was
leave the Death Rock Kids alone.
Oh my God. Jenny Jones, leave the Death Rock Kids alone. So there was this iconic episode where she had these, quote, same thing you're describing, these modern day vampires on. And they talked about drinking each other's blood and stuff like that. But it was back in the day, it was back in like the early 90s.
When everybody was a vampire in the 90s.
Well, I'm saying that like the AIDS crisis was going on and people didn't really there weren't really good drugs for them and like PrEP and stuff didn't exist. So it was way scarier back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand like that's like, obviously there was testing and stuff like that, but like nowadays with the modern blood testing and stuff, I have a lot easier time saying, okay, whatever, do what you do, boo. As long as you test yourself and everybody, like all these bloodborne pathogens, and your blood is clean, that's fine. Whatever is happening between like two or more consenting adults is their business. Is it for me? No, it's fucking gross. Like, no, ew. Like, no.
Imagine a woman that drinks a cup of blood.
No,
Ew.
it was making me nauseous just thinking about it.
That's so much blood.
Oh, it's fucking nasty, man.
Does she just like gulp it, or
she
does
just be
like,
drinking it? And she says that helps her IBS. I feel like if that's a laxative, that's going to make you go shit your ass.
Yeah. Well.
But go back and watch those Jenny Jones episodes on YouTube. They're very good, by the way. We're seeing those like the old the goths and the punk rock kids that were brought on Jenny Jones back in the day. Nowadays, you watch clips from there and you're just like, these people are awesome. I want to see where they are now. Can we please see where they are now? Are they just as cool as they were back then? Because when I was watching them as I was a kid, like when I was home for the summertime, you're watching daytime TV. And I'm like a 10-year-old and I'm watching Jenny Jones and I'm just like, oh, these like older teenagers, they're so bad. Look at these bad teenagers.
I want to be a vampire.
Yeah, look at these naughty teenagers. And then they always did a makeover. Remember, they did a makeover of them, like they made them look quote unquote normal, whatever that is. But anyways, I'm sure those people all turn out to be like cool people in the future.
On the same topic of these vampires on TV. And I've brought this show up before, which I think Heather's already expressed that she does not want to watch this show. She doesn't like it. But Dark Tourist.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's not that I don't like it.
It's just
I
not
have
for you.
watched it.
It's just not for you.
I have watched it. It has not tickled my pickle.
Well, and that's okay. But anyway, he did. David Farrier did do his one show. One of the episodes, he went to New Orleans and talked to, I think it must have been these same people. It sounds like these same people that they really did drink blood. They were very like it was very theatrical too. These people were definitely like leaning into the whole like
vampire thing.
So when you were like looking into this, did that seem to be like a common motif, or were some people like just like basically normal and like, and yeah, in my spare time I drink blood?
Yeah, it seemed, at least in Browning's research, that most of it was, I believe, it's not a quote, but more or less the gist of a statement was they weren't any weirder or more crazy than anybody else he'd ever met. So it wasn't like
they didn't have like goth tendencies. They didn't
like
have
that. Those people existed. That most people were just people who were living their lives, working regular jobs, wearing pants.
There's probably people that are into like shit that sounds way
Wearing
less
pants.
dangerous that are actually way more dangerous. Cough, evangelical Christians cough. Essentially. So whatever, do what you do, boo. Like I said, that's
fine.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, I personally wish they were all Victorian style Anne Rice vampires.
Oh my God.
For my personal amusement, but
homework. I was just going to say homework. Listeners, if you have not read or watched Interview with the Vampire, highly recommend.
Oh yeah.
Highly recommend. I think I mentioned it last week when I was talking about the graveyards in New Orleans and stuff, but it's great. Before she like got all like Christian-y and like bleh, she was amazing as a writer. And that was a great book and a great movie. And it had Kiki Dunst as like a 10-year-old. My girl, Kiki Dunst.
Yeah, and then like a 10-year-old playing like a 10-year-old in a 30-year-old's body, which is creepy and terrible.
Well, more than 30-year-old. She gets to be like hundreds of years old.
Oh yeah, true. Well, anyway, but still, yes.
She's immortal, baby. But you got Antonio Banderas. You got Brad Pitt, you got Tom Cruise, Kiki Dunst, who else? I don't know. Oh yeah, Christian Slater. That was the last one I'm trying to think of. But like the 90s, like who's who of the 90s are in there. So if you're looking for a last minute quote unquote like scary horror movie to watch for Halloween,
it's a good one.
I think that's a great one to go with. Interview with a Vampire.
Cool.
So do you guys want to wrap this up? Does anybody have what is the sickest thing of the week in a good way?
I changed my hair color today.
Oh yeah.
Is it today?
It's very cute.
It is very
literally
fresh.
just happened.
Describe.
Oh, well, okay. So up until recently I had like half blonde hair. Now I've done a sort of autumnal red situation. So that's it.
Yeah. It looks good. It is very seasonal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. JB?
I went and visited my friend in Boston last week.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a really fun time. And I went to a haunted house and I ran around in a corn maze and I screamed at stuff.
You went leaf peeping in New England.
I went leaf peeping and them leaves were looking real good.
Yeah.
I feel like we don't get good leaves here, really.
I think our leaves look pretty good. Actually, I was telling my friend when I was there, I was like, it actually honestly doesn't look that different in Western PA.
Yeah.
I was like, but these are different leaves because I don't live here, so they're better.
And they have mountains. We just have hills. We have the Appalachians, which are not that high.
They also have they're all the Appalachians.
Well,
they're pointier Appalachians.
They're the pointier ones.
Okay.
The more majestic ones.
Still the same Appalachians.
They're the Adirondacks.
They're different, so they're better.
All right.
So I guess my sickest thing of the week in the good way, I don't know.
You're on spooky vacation.
I'm on spooky vacation. It's pretty tight butthole.
That is pretty great.
I really enjoy. I specifically take a week off work in October every year just to like hang out and like have like enjoy the month of October, and it's been pretty awesome.
That's great.
So yeah, I painted my dining room black, and I've been watching a lot of scary movies, and it's been great.
You picked up some good taxidermy at a prop sale.
Oh yeah, we went to another prop sale. So Justine and I.
It was for a Manhunt.
Yeah.
Atlanta Bomber, which will be on TV at some point.
Yeah, I don't know what channel is it. Is it like AMC?
I don't fucking know. I've seen the Unabomber one. I think
Did you watch it?
It's on Netflix, I think.
Oh.
But I don't know where it airs originally.
But yeah,
Discovery maybe.
I bought a deer pelt.
Yeah.
I got a deer pelt. And I got a chandelier. Oh my God. These prop sales. So in Pittsburgh.
So good.
In Pittsburgh, I guess they have tax credits for filming. So it's cheap to film here. They have a lot of like filming here on location.
We did get a decent amount of productions. I imagine these prop sales happen anywhere that there's a lot of productions.
Right.
So I'm guessing Atlanta has a bunch. New York must have like thousands of them.
Oh my God. It has to be amazing.
I'm sure Vancouver has lots.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Vancouver. Yeah. That's where Riverdale is. Could you imagine buying the Riverdale like season 3 props? By Cheryl's wardrobe.
Oh my God.
But yeah, these prop sales from these, because we previously went to the Mindhunter prop sale, and that's where I got Carl Satan, which is my taxidermy deer head, amongst other things. They are like the best place to like thrift shop.
It's so much fun.
The best prices.
Because there's like tons of shit.
You can haggle.
And a lot of it, like, it's not even all necessarily used on camera. Like, I think some of it is just stuff that they had sourced.
Oh, I watched all of Mindhunter, and I did not see Carl Satan in any episode.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure, and even if he was, like, it was probably, like, blurry in the background of some, like, restaurant or bars. Like,
yeah.
And but, I mean, who gives a shit? But then sometimes, I will say, especially the Mindhunter one, there was definitely, like, some props that were, like, marked with signs of, like, yeah, like this box of stuff, like these are the t-shirts that were in Holden's drawer.
Yeah, Jonathan Groff's, his character's bedroom. This is the t-shirts that were in his bedroom. I specifically remember that too.
Yeah, anyway, so if you ever come across one of those prop sales, you should go because it's like fucking awesome.
Oh my God,
so interesting.
So many good deals to be had.
Oh yeah, I got like this giant poster print of like this like late 1800s beer advertisement.
It's cute.
It's huge. It's framed framed nicely behind glass. $20.
Yeah, it's a great place to get frames general. Even if you don't like the picture, take the picture out.
Mm-hmm.
Great place to get like massive frames on the cheap. I'm all about bargain hunting because I'm a newish home owner and I'm trying to decorate this house, and everything I have pretty much is secondhand. It was either secondhand or a gift. Jesus Christ. We're millennials. That's the way we are. Can't afford anything new, huh?
It's okay. It's better. Less wasteful.
Better. I agree. Less wasteful.
Oh, for sure.
I love upcycling things. Community thrift. Can I plug my favorite thrift store? Community thrift. Okay.
Sure.
Let's wrap this shit up. Justine, hit me with link in bio.
Link in bio. All right. Well, friends, you're listening to us right now. If you haven't already, why don't you go ahead and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you found us? That's just fine.
Yay!
And if you liked what you heard, please, give us a 5-star review because that would be super sweet.
Oh, we would love that. We would love to hear from you so much. Please write a review, even if it's short, even if it's one sentence.
And speaking of, getting in touch with us, you can tweet at us. We're at That Sick Pod. You can send us messages and comments on Instagram at That Sick Podcast.
If there's any topics you would like us to cover,
you can email us at thats.sick.podcast@gmail.com. We would be more than happy to do your bidding.
We are your research monkeys.
Absolutely, we are.
Oh my God. That's every week. I think I know some shit. And then I learned some shit. Every week I'm like, oh, I know about Elizabeth Bathory.
I didn't know anything.
And I didn't know. So that's great. Okay, guys. So until next week, don't drink more than 1 tablespoon of blood per day because that's sick.